Hi guys, welcome to the model solutions to the ratio 1:8 shadow test. So this will be the first page that I'll go through on this video, and then hopefully a link will come up at the end of the video for you to go to the next page. Okay, so first question, you've got to simplify these ratios or write them in their simplest form. It's just a case of finding a number that both parts of the ratio are divisible by. So on this first one, these are both divisible by 5. Okay, so we would get 1 to 6 as the simplified ratio. That should be A, by the way. On this next one, which should be labelled B, these are all divisible by 5 again, so we would get 1 to 3 to 2. So all been divided by 5 there. On C, these are the highest common factor of these two numbers is 2, so we can only divide by 2, and that would give us 4 to 7. And then on this final question, these are all divisible by, you might spot it, 11. So we would get 4 to 2 to 12, which are all divisible again by 2. So actually that meant I could have divided by 22 to begin with. But it doesn't really matter as long as we get to the final answer. So 2 to 1 to 6. Okay, on question 2 we're using ratio in a different way. It says the model of a boat is made using a scale of 1 to 6. That means for every 1 unit of length on the model, that would be 6 units of that length on the real thing. So in other words, the real thing is 6 times bigger than the model. Okay, and that's how we get between the model and the real thing. If the length of the model is 50 centimeters, what's the length of the real boat? So we times 50 centimeters by 6, and that would give us 300 centimeters, or we may choose to write it as 3 meters. If the height of the real boat is 1.5 meters, what is the height of the model? So we're going from real back to the model, so we're dividing by 6. 1.5 divided by 6 would be 0.25 meters, so 25 centimeters. Number 3, moving on to ingredients style proportion questions. So these are the ingredients to make 12 shortcakes. Liz makes some shortcakes using 25 milliliters of milk. So only 10 is needed for the normal recipe. To turn that into 25, we have times by 2.5. So it would make 2.5 times as many shortcakes. So 12 lots of 2.5 would give us 30. Robert's got those ingredients. What is the greatest number of shortcakes Robert can make? Okay, so there's a question very similar to this in the pack. We need to find the limiting ingredient. So having 500 grams of sugar is way more than is needed, because only 50 grams needed, so that means it would enable him to make 10 times the recipe amount. He's got enough butter to make 5 lots of the recipe. He's got enough flour to make 5 lots of the recipe. And he's got enough milk to make 50 lots of the recipe. So the limiting ingredients here are butter and flour. Okay, so he can only make 5 lots of the recipe. The recipe makes 12 shortcakes, so 5 lots of 12 give us 60. Okay, next column. What percentage of these grids are shaded? So I would just write these as a fraction out of what we see there and then turn it into a fraction out of 100 personally. So here we've got 3/10. Scale that up and that would be 30 hundredths, therefore 30%. B, you can clearly see that there's half of that shaded in, so you might just recognise that it's 50%, but you know, we could do it the other way as well, 5/10, 50%. On C, we have 6 whole squares, and then the 2 triangles would add together to make another 2 squares, so we've got 8/10, which is 80 hundredths, so 80%. And then on D, if we were to add together those 4 triangles, they would take up 8 squares. So we've got 8 out of a 5 by 5 square, which is 25 squares. So we need to times these by 4. So that's 32 over 100, or 32%. Number 5, a pack of 9 toilet rolls costs this amount, probably a lot more nowadays. A pack of 4 toilet rolls costs this much. Which one gives the better value for money? So you've got to compare the same amount of toilet rolls. It could either be 1 toilet roll, or you could multiply and actually make these amounts bigger. Okay, so you could times them to find 36 toilet rolls. It doesn't really matter as long as you're comparing the same amount of toilet rolls. So I'm going to compare 1. So in the pack of 9, each toilet roll will cost £4.23 divided by 9. Whoops. Okay, so we can use a calculator on this. So that's 47p. And in the pack of 4, we need to divide by 4. And that will give 49p. So you'd rather pay 47p per roll, so the pack of 9 is better value. Okay, number 6, bit of a harder best value question. So 550 grams of cereal cost this, 800 grams cost £2.56. Which is the better value for money? So we need to compare the same amount of grams. I'm going to go with 50 grams because 50 goes into both of those. I'm just going to label these 1 and 2. So 50 grams of option 1. Now to turn 550 grams into 50 grams, I need to divide by 11. So I'm going to divide the cost by 11 as well. And that will give 15 pence. And for the next one, to find 50 grams of option 2, I would divide by 16. And that gives 16 pence. So 550 gram one is better value. Okay, just make sure your working is shown and it's really clear which your answer is. 4 calculators cost £14.80. How much would 10 of them cost? So what I would probably do here is find out the cost of 1 by dividing by 4. Oops. And that would be £3.70. So therefore 10 would be £37. Okay, and number 8. It takes 3 men 8 hours to build a wall. How long would it take 4 men? So the question above was direct proportion. This one is inverse proportion. If we increase the number of men, it should take less time to build the wall. So 3 men take 8 hours. 1 man. Now to get from 3 to 1 I've divided by 3, but with inverse proportion I would times this side by 3. So that would give me 24 hours. I've then times by 4. So I'm going to divide this side by 4 and the answer is 6 hours. Assuming they're all working at the same rate.